Well, welcome to my channel. Here's my 61 unibody. So I mentioned in the last couple of videos that I was going to try to get this started. This video, I still am hopeful that that's going to happen. However, I do have a couple things that I haven't got yet, and so we'll see if that hinders me from starting it up or not. We'll see. I got 2 dogs, and surprisingly enough, I still have 2 dogs. But this is what I came home to this week. This is the wires that are going to the headlights and front running lights, turn blinkers. Not real sure why I have a dog. But apparently I needed more work. So that's the first thing I'm going to do today. Other things I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the taillights. Apparently on these old Fords, they grounded the taillights, grounded through the taillight housing. And so I'm having an issue with the taillights. Like one brake light is on all the time. And I've been told that that's a ground problem. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a self-tapper into the body of the taillight housing and then run a wire to the chassis, either the frame or just directly to the body, and see what I can accomplish if I can get that problem solved. I checked other grounds. I have a ground going from the motor to the frame, and I have a ground going from the motor to the body, and I have a ground going from the ground on the battery to the body. So as far as like those grounds are concerned, I'm fairly confident that I'm in good shape there. So I think that what I'm having a problem with is just right there on the housing of the taillights, which is, like I said, as I'm understanding, is a common problem for these older F100s. Anyway, those are 2 things that I'm going to tackle today. Other is I picked up this harness that I got. I mentioned in the last video it was very cheap, and the fuses that are in the fuse box are just terrible. They're trash. The little prongs on some of them are crooked and facing each other. One of the fuses was so badly twisted, they were touching each other, and as soon as I put power to it, it popped that fuse. So I got to replace some fuses in that fuse panel. I picked those up. The thing that's potentially going to stop me from starting it up this video is some relays that I have to get. I don't think it will. I think I can get them and have them here in time. But relays, and I'm going to redo the exhaust. And so the O2 sensors, I have those out right now. They're not in the truck because I took the exhaust out that was original from the car, because I'm gonna redo the exhaust. So that, I don't know that I'm assuming that I need those to even try to start this up. So I got to do something about that. So we'll see. Basically what I'm saying is I'm not going to make any guarantees that this is a startup video. But if it is a startup video, I'm sure that you know that already because it would probably be in the thumbnail. And if it's not, then you would know that too because it wouldn't be in the thumbnail. But at any rate, I'm going to get busy, see what I can get done. This right here is extremely frustrating. Get everything together here. Had to get more heat shrink. This red right here works really good for this basic size wire. Got these from Harbor Freight. Just cut them down, you know. So, man. So basically, let's find out where it didn't get chewed. Look at it, completely chewed in half. This is the only thing holding it on is this tape. Man, let me grab a knife. Cut this back. This tape. Well, I'm now able to tell you just how good that tape works. It works really good. Like, if you got to take things apart, it works nearly too good. Not typically supposed to take things apart. Okay. Man, that's like that much. It's like 10 inches. I better put these on and give it a proper inspection. Yeah, I wasn't very proud of my dog. Right there. Honestly, I wasn't very proud of me for having a dog right there. Like, why do I have a dog? So, just shortened it up a little bit. I did this so that it goes down to the frame and along the bottom along the frame because I really didn't want to have wires running on my inner fenders. So if you're wondering, like, how did he ever get to that? Well, this corner was down right where the frame, right between the top of frame coming up the radiator core support. So there's just a section right there that you can get to. I haven't got to it. So that's the way it goes. We'll fix it. We'll fix it, and then we'll fix ground on the taillights. Man. That section right there was pretty well chewed. I got these butt connectors that I really like. You heat shrink them, and then there's a solder ring in them, and that solder goes, and so you strip the wire, stick it in there, so the exposed wires at that ring. Same thing on the other side, and then you heat that up, and then the solder just grabs everything. It's really cool. See, I got 5 of these wires, 5 of these. And then, let's see, shut, there we go. Okay. Get back up here. Push that down, maybe that'll hold it. Actually, I'll clamp on that. Okay. Alright. Where to begin? I guess we start with light blue. It's in my hand. Take some of this stuff just to try to save this. I usually take and snip it's probably about a 1/4 inch or so off the end of those, just to shorten that up, and then I don't have to use quite as much of this, and then I can pick a length, cut it off, slide it on, obviously. Okay, this heat gun that I got does not melt the solder. So basically what I use it for is I just melt down the heat shrink on either side. So if you can see what I did there, keep these out of the way. I shrank down either side so it basically holds the wire in place. And then we'll fire this guy up. That got a little, maybe too hot. Let that cool a second. And then I'll show you, and some of you probably already know that how that solders in there. Some of you probably have these. And then I'm just gonna snip this little bit of wire that came off. And that's why I still use the shrink tube to go over top of that, because I worry that some of that solder pokes through. So put feet straight. And there you have it. That's one done. Okay, there you go. All fixed up, all put back together, color to color. You know, I didn't screw that up. That's good. So I'm gonna wrap this with some of that tape, and then I'm gonna leave it sit right here. I'm not gonna put it back down there until I have the truck on jack stands, because I need to be able to get underneath it, and with it on the ground, I can't fit underneath it. When it's on the ground, the dog can't fit underneath it either. But when it's up like this, obviously the dog can fit underneath it. So anyway, I'm just going to leave it like that, but I am going to tape this up, and then we'll go back and get some ground wires on those taillight housings, see if that doesn't solve my problem. Hopefully it does. I need to get more zip ties on all this harness I got up on this motor. All of this mess. This is power that goes from the alternator to feed this harness, the harness that runs the lights and things. And then the purple wire over there goes down to the starter. I still have to wire 2 wires for the neutral safety switch. One of those wires hooks to the purple, the other comes back to the ignition switch. There's 2 wires for the Ron Francis that go into the ignition switch. I got to get those 2 wired. I haven't done that yet because I was backtracking a little bit, checking myself on whether or not I had wired that ignition switch correctly, and I did. So the other thing was I checked myself on the headlight switch, and I believe I had that wired right also, but I'm starting to worry that it's a bad, like the switch is bad. So I got one on order that should be here tomorrow. Anyway, that's where I'm at. But I think a lot of this motor harness can be like cleaned up and tidied up. So I'm gonna work on the taillight here. I have a 74, and so I went and pulled the headlight or the taillight out of the 74. And in 74, they were grounding this, so it wasn't grounded like from the housing. It was grounded inside from the socket of the light. So there's an extra wire going out, and then it grounds to the body right inside the taillight. So I'm just going to pull this out. I got some self tappers right here. What I'm planning on doing is I'm just going to run a self tapper from the backside into this housing, and then run a wire to the body on the inside there. Hopefully that's going to solve my problem. So I got some connectors, I got some wire. I didn't have any black wire, but I got this brown wire. I'll just use it and get that done here, get that done there, and then probably get some power to this again and see if I still have this brake light on. It was, at first it was just this one on the driver's side on all the time. You'd turn if you turn the running lights, then it would go off. But then I messed with things and stuff, and then it was both of them. So that was after I messed with like trying to get a ground. These ground via the screws that hold them in. That's how they're supposed to ground. And so I'm not getting a good ground there. And apparently I had a good ground on that side. And then when I messed with stuff, I lost the good ground on that side. So now anyway, hopefully that's what's going on. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ground wire on these because as the years progressed to solve that problem, that's what they did. So, okay. See what we can get done here. Let's pull this light out. My neighbor is running I don't know if it's a weed eater or big vacuum cleaner, I'm hoping that this mic is not picking that up too terribly. Okay, so this is all they have for this year is brake and running, and so there's no ground. So the housing grounds to here, and then you got these little clips, and if the little clips aren't making a good ground, or if it's not grounding to these, then you're just not getting around. And so what I tried to do to solve this when I messed with it is like I sanded this down, sanded down here. You're trying to get, but it didn't work. So this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna ground it, back in here. Hopefully, oh, my drill is way over there on the other end of the tailgate. Okay, hopefully this fits in here. Oh no. Well, might have to get some sort of extension, I guess, on that thing. Bring you guys up to speed. I could not come up with a way to extend. I'm sure I got one of those little adapters that goes on here, and then I can get in there, but I can't find it. So I just made the wire long enough to go down through, and then I've self-tapped it to the bottom instead of like in here. Same. So now what I'm gonna do is just get a self-tapper like that. Just put one in right into this taillight housing. Like that. The other thing I did do down there just to make sure that I had good connection. I did that just to make sure I had a good connection. And now that taillight is grounded. So I'm going to grab a couple zip ties. Give me 1 second. I'll put this away before I'm bleeding. During my run to the store for parts and pieces, I got some really small zip ties. Try to keep that nice and clean. Should have put a little connector right there, but I didn't. And that's alright. Okay. We'll snip these off. So, put this back in here. Okay, I'll move on to the other side and then test this and see what's up. Well, I got that taken care of. So I got tail lights, those sides, run down, got running lights, and got dash lights. And then if I pull that out, headlights. Pretty cool. So the other thing that I'd like you guys to hear is, see if you can hear this. That's it turning over. It's not going to start because I have not finished the Ron Francis. I have not made that connection yet. Haven't hooked that up yet. I'm working on wiring up the gauges right now. What I've decided is I'm at a point where I've got to decide, do I put out a video for Thursday and then push off the start video for next week, or do I just not put out a video at all this week and then put everything together for next week? And so what I think I've decided to do is I'm just going to edit this video and put this video out for Thursday. So I got to work on that. I gotta basically stop what I'm doing and get started editing this video, because if I don't, then I'm going to push for trying to get this thing started, and then I'm not going to have time to edit the video. So that's the reality of what I deal with right now, is time. And so I'm really excited because, you know, like you just heard this thing turning over, and I got headlights, I got running lights, I got tail lights, dash lights. I do still need to work on blinkers, things. This truck, what I found out is these older Fords, when the running lights in the front are on with the headlights off, when you pull the headlights on, the running lights in the front shut off. So if you notice that in the video, that when the headlights are on, the front running lights are not on, that is because of the way this switch is on this old Ford. And I don't mind that. I'm just gonna leave it like that. So anyway, I'm gonna edit this video, and then I'm gonna start putting content together for next week. I'll get these gauges finished up. I want to have the gauges going for startup. The other thing that I need to do is, I originally used the exhaust off the car because I was going to use the wiring, and the car had the cats and stuff on the exhaust. So I've deleted that in this wiring. So I pulled off the exhaust, And in doing so, I pulled, I don't have the O2 sensors. So I need to get at least enough pipe uh, hooked up to the exhaust manifolds to get the two O2 sensors installed and plugged in before I try to start the truck. So I got a little bit more work to do, and so this is basically it's just going to push back into another week. So that's that. That's where I'm at. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks everyone who continues to watch my videos and support my channel. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, have a blessed week and remember that Jesus loves you. Thanks for watching.